Hello, my name is Julia and this is Space Daily News channel. NASA's Space Launch System Super Heavy rocket with the Orion spacecraft was launched today. After years of development and several launch delays, the rocket roared upward from Pad 39A at Kennedy Space Center. Incidentally, the previous launch from this site was in 2009, that is 13 years ago. The rocket Ares 1 was launched there. A huge 98-meter rocket has two solid-propellant side boosters with a height of 54 meters and a diameter of 3.6 meters each. They are the ones that provide more than 75% of the total thrust of the Space Launch System at launch. They were developed by Northrop Grumman based on the knowledge and experience gained over 3 decades of space shuttle operation using the latest technology. The Space Launch System's side boosters have 5 fuel segments, one more than was used in the Space Shuttle side boosters, which means they each hold 25% more fuel. The Space Launch System side boosters also use a new nozzle design, new asbestos-free insulation, and a new cladding configuration. Incidentally, NASA says the Space Launch System will have 15% more thrust during launch than the Saturn V rocket. The side boosters, which worked just over 2 minutes, exhausted all of their fuel before separating at 126 seconds after launch, and then drop into the Atlantic Ocean. After about another minute, the launch escape system fires off, which fortunately was not needed during this launch. The main stage of the Space Launch System rocket is the tallest first stage ever flown, with a height of 64.6 meters and a diameter of 8.4 meters. The first stage of Elon Musk's Starship Super Heavy rocket is only slightly taller, it's 67 meters, but it has not yet flown. At the base of the core stage of the Space Launch System rocket is an engine compartment, where 4 RS-25 engines, interconnecting cables, and several tens of thousands of sensors are located. In the central part of the main stage, 2 fuel tanks, which contains cryogenic liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen, a total volume of 2,800 cubic meters. In the upper part of the main stage, there are onboard computers and most of the avionics needed to control the rocket's flight. Incidentally, the main stage of the Space Launch System rocket has the same diameter as the Space Shuttle's fuel tank, and is covered with orange foam to insulate the cryogenic fuel. Boeing, NASA's prime contractor for the Space Launch System main stage, manufactured the first stage at the facility in New Orleans. There is where NASA has been assembling spacecraft components, including external shuttle tanks and Saturn launch vehicle stages, for decades. The main stage is designed to operate for about 500 seconds, that is just over 8 minutes, before separating from the upper stage and the Orion spacecraft upon reaching low Earth orbit. It will fall into the Atlantic Ocean in about 1 hour and 46 minutes after the start of the mission. Now it's up to the cryogenic stage, which is 13.7 meters high and 5.1 meters in diameter. It is a single-engine liquid hydrogen liquid oxygen system created by Boeing and the United Launch Alliance. The stage is a modified cryogenic second stage of the Delta rocket, a proven upper stage used in the Delta IV family of launch vehicles. It will operate for the next 2 hours before separating from the Orion spacecraft, sending it on a long journey to our satellite. The Artemis 1 mission is the first integrated flight of a Space Launch System rocket and an Orion spacecraft, using a Block 1 rocket configuration that is 98 meters high. The purpose of the mission is to demonstrate how the Space Launch System, Orion spacecraft and ground systems work together before the first crewed flight. The Artemis 1 mission will take the Orion spacecraft past the Moon at a distance of about 100 kilometers from its surface and enter a retrograde orbit 64,000 kilometers from the Moon, where it will stay for about 6 days to collect data and allow mission controllers to evaluate the spacecraft performance. This mission should pave the way for other Artemis missions, which will take astronauts first to orbit of the Moon and then to its surface. Space Daily News, like, share and subscribe.